Are we live? Awesome. All right, cool. All right, I don't see it yet, though. Oh, there it is. I see it now. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Look, I want to ask y'all a question. Where were you on November? Where am I getting November from? Where am I getting November from? Where were you September 9th, 9/11? Where were you at? Right? September 11th, 9/11. Where were you? Do you know where you were? You know, it's like, I think that's the thing for every year. September 9th for 9/11. September 11th for 9/11. It's the ninth month. It's the ninth month. Right? But I think that's the thing. The ninth month of the year, the 11th day, I think everyone's always, it's going to be like that forever in American history, right? It's going to be like that forever. Where were you? Where were you? What were you doing? Where were you? What were you doing? What were you doing? What were you doing? Well, it's really interesting. There's actual video of President Trump going down there the day after, assessing the situation and looking at it, you know, because he actually sent workers down there, sent people down there to help out with the whole situation, which is really interesting to me because where was Joe Biden? Where was Joe Biden with all of this? Right? Think about it. Joe Biden says that he was there as well. How many of y'all believe Joe Biden was there the day after 9/11, September 11th? How many of y'all wonder where Joe was? Is anybody wondering where Joe was? Here, I want to share something with you here, if I can. Give me 1 second. I wasn't going to do this, but now I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this right here like that. All right. I want to share something with y'all. Okay. Where'd it go? Okay. You can split screen it. This is a video, and I have to put this right here, Freedom of Information Act, because they try to, you know, this is all it is, Freedom of Information Act. Okay. It's just information from the past. This is a video with President Trump that, if I'm not mistaken, this was the day after, right? This was the day after, or a couple of days after, whatever. But he went down there to see what was the situation and to provide support. Watch this. This is President Trump. A blast from the past.
Fine. I think we'll do fine.
Donald, what do you think about all this? You're a developer. You've built buildings all your life.
Well, there's never been anything like this. It's disgraceful. And I hope we attack fast. I hope we find out who it is and go fast. Okay.
Why'd you want to come down here today?
I have about 100 men working down here, so just to spur them on. Hi, folks.
You see that? He's about 100 people working down, 100 men working, right? And President Trump, at the time, just Donald J. Trump, he sends people to help out. He's like always been like this. And it's really weird, right? Because during that time, the left, they loved Trump. They loved him. You know, he just willingly pouring money out. Let's see what we can do. Pour money. What do you need? How can I help? And he does the same thing today. But today they hate the man. They hate him today. It's a completely different story. Well, look at this one with Joe Biden. This is Joe Biden now, right? This is Joe Biden now, where he's talking about, this is him in Alaska, where he's talking, this is opening statements in Alaska, his remarks in Alaska. And let's listen to what he says. It's really interesting to me. I mean, because it is. Watch.
Governor Dunleavy, it's good to see you. Governor and I have something in common. We're both from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I wish I had him playing in my high school ball club when I was playing. But I could have been an All-American having you in front of me.
Really? Really? All-American, right? Well, here's a video where Joe Biden, listen to this one. Joe Biden, same place, where Joe Biden talks about what he was doing the very next day. Now, Joe Biden said that he was there the very next day. Where's the video footage of that? I just showed you video footage of President Trump. Right after all of that happened on 9/11. Where is the video footage of Joe Biden? Where's that? Because if Joe Biden would have shown up, somebody would have been recording it. There would have been some documentation of it. Joe Biden lying again. Everybody remembers where they were except for Joe.
Ground Zero in New York. And I remember standing there the next day and looking at the building. I felt like I was looking through the gates of hell. It looked so devastating because from where you could stand.
I mean, he has no problems lying. He wasn't even there. So that video, thank you from the RNC, they actually talked about Joe Biden. The very next day, he was in Washington, D.C. He was nowhere near Ground Zero. He was nowhere near it. So why in the world would he be saying that he was there? Why would he say that? Because he is a compulsive liar. It's like he doesn't have a choice. He can't help himself. He has to lie about everything that he does. Everything. He lies about everything. Why would you tell people that you were there the next day? Why would you say that? Why would you say that when you weren't even there? He's literally lying. Listen to this one. This one here is George W. Bush. Split screen it for me. Here's another one, a blast from the past. Freedom of Information Act. I'm putting this on there so hopefully they'll leave me alone, because I'm just sharing freedom of information. This is information that's been out there for a very long time, almost 14 years now. I guess this one's almost 10 years, because this is George W. Bush, September 15th. This was 2006. It was 5 years later. I want y'all to pay attention to what President Bush, he was president. I want y'all to pay attention to what President Bush said 5 years later after 9/11. 5 years. You can't make it up.
Pause to mark the 5th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. The information that the Central Intelligence Agency has obtained by questioning men like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed has provided valuable information and has helped disrupt terrorist plots, including strikes within the United States. For example, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed described the design of planned attacks on buildings inside the U.S. and how operatives were directed to carry them out.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention to this information, Freedom of Information Act. Pay attention. Freedom of Information Act. Pay attention, okay? Because the only reason why I keep repeating that, because they like Bush. They hated Bush then. You know, if he's running against them, they hate him. But they love Bush now because he doesn't like Trump. As long as you don't like Trump, you can be a rhino and they'll love you. Like they love Liz Cheney, Adam Kissinger, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell. They love them as long as you hate Trump. Listen to what he says, people, because so many people have never, ever heard this.
That is valuable information for those of us who have the responsibility to protect the American people. He told us the operatives had been instructed to ensure that the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that?
He told us the operatives had been instructed to ensure that the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping.
I mean, wow. I mean, really? I mean, so what does that mean? What does that mean? Was it something that was done on purpose? Was it a plot? Was it planned? Was it to get us to go into war with Iraq? Was that the whole purpose, to get us to go into war? And let me remind y'all, right before that happened, Saddam Hussein said that he was no longer going to use U.S. petrodollars. He was no longer going to buy oil with U.S. petrodollars. He was going to start buying it with euros. I don't know if y'all knew that. A lot of people don't know that. He was going to start buying them with euros. No longer the U.S. petrodollar. Then as soon as he made that, that adjustment, that change, all of this took place. And that information didn't come out until years later. And I guess at that point, it didn't matter. Listen to this one, because this was a video from Ground Zero the same day. I want y'all to listen and pay attention to the first responders here. And again, this is information, Freedom of Information Act, because this is something, the blast from the past. This is something that we all should be able to be freely to be able to see.
Bomb in the building, start clearing out. Sorry, you said it's a bomb? What'd you say? Bomb in the building, start clearing out. Got it.
So y'all hear him, right? I don't know how well y'all can hear that, but he's literally saying there's an explosive in the building. Everyone got to get out, And one guy says, what? There's an explosive in the building. What? What'd you say? He said, yes, there's. So with that said, and I just saw someone on Rumble made a comment saying, I thought all it was conspiracy when I just played the one with Bush, right? Because everybody was thinking about it. I used to have the conversations with people and they said, man, no, it was never an inside job. And I'm like, you know what? Just looking at the information, you got to question it, right? And people used to get mad at me because I said, there's something to this. Like it might have been an inside job. I'm just saying, there might be something to this. And then I had the conversation with people and I always bring up Building 7. As soon as you bring up Building 7, well, people that don't, regardless of what happens, they believe what the government's been telling them. Well, the government is telling us this. We got to believe it. As soon as you bring up Building 7, it's like they want to shut down the conversation with you. Like they have nothing else to say to you. Like, don't want to talk about it no more. Or then they'll make up excuses of why Building 7 went down. Oh, Building 7 just caught on fire because of all the heat. So what about the buildings in between the Twin Towers and Building 7? How come they didn't collapse? How come they didn't burn? The buildings in between. Anybody? I heard one person tell me that, well, when the plane hit the Twin Tower, the jet fuel from the plane went over pretty much over these other buildings, hit Building 7 and caused it to collapse. The jet fuel. That's one story that I heard. I mean, some of the other ones, they said, well, because they just had so much pressure and they were shaking so much, and when they collapsed, it caused Building 7 to collapse. And not the ones in between, mind you. Not the ones in between. And not any of the other buildings, but Building 7. Soon as you bring it up, they want to kind of shut you down. They don't want to talk about it anymore. And all I do is ask the question, what explain Building 7, and they give all these, theories, because we don't know, but they give all these theories. Have y'all ever seen that documentary that they created on it called, what was it, Fahrenheit 9/11? Did you ever watch that? It was actually very well done. It was very well done. It was put together very well. And I'm looking at it. I looked at it years ago and I'm like, man, this is very compelling information. And how do you discredit it? Because they talk about the heat that generate from rocket fuel, jet fuel, right? They talk about the heat, how hot it can get and how hot the metal needs to be before it can lose its, strength, right? And even President Trump, in one of the videos, President Trump was talking about he never seen a building built this way. Why? He said, with the building built the way that it was, and they said, and I was talking to a producer earlier about it, the windows are so narrow. Why would the building collapse that way? He said, because the steel was on the outside. So if anything hitting it, the steel is going to stand up and withstand it. So people are wondering, there's so many questions. But my main thing is everyone today will always go down in American history of, do you remember where you were? Until the generation that was too young to even remember it. Like when I was born, Pearl Harbor had already happened. So every year I wouldn't ask about Pearl Harbor. I didn't hear people talking about Pearl Harbor. Right? That never happened in my lifetime. Now I'm aware of it, right? And when the day comes, because they talk about it. But when the generation that was alive and, old enough, when they pass on, that's if we're all still here, that's the only time it will stop. But until then, it's always going to be, where were you? And, there's still families that's still hurting from that. And then you have Joe Biden, the idiot Joe Biden. He won't even go to New York and acknowledge the police, the first responders, the police officers, the firemen, just the family members. People lost family members, the American citizens. He won't even go. He's treating them the same way he treat those in East Palestine. We don't care about you. You're American. He's treating them the same way they're treating it, the way they did in Hawaii. Oh, here's $700. Shut up. We have illegals that need more assistance than you do, even though you lost family members and everything. Shut up. That's their whole thing right now. And that's what we're getting from them. So Joe Biden goes overseas and he's in Vietnam. Correct, Shannon? He's in Vietnam, right? I think he was in Vietnam. And Joe Biden is over in Vietnam and he's talking. And he have you seen this, Shannon? He brings up John Wayne. I don't understand. I mean, I really don't. I've watched John Wayne when I was younger. John Wayne has some really good movies. Studio Cowboy, but he has some really good movies, right? So there's John Wayne and then there's Clint Eastwood. John Wayne was kind of like a studio cowboy. Clint Eastwood was just rough. He was a rough cowboy.
It's in India, by the way.
He's in India. So he's there in India. Listen to this, Shannon. Listen to what he says while he's in India talking about John Wayne.
My brother loves having these famous lines from movies that he always quotes. And one of them is a movie about John Wayne, who's an Indian scout, and we're trying to get I think it was Apache, one of the great tribes of America, back on the reservation. And he's standing with the Union soldiers in all arms, on their horses in their saddles, and there's 3 or 4 Indians in headdresses, and the Union soldiers basically saying, Indians, come with me, we'll take care of you, everything will be good. And the Indian looks at John Wayne and points to the Union soldier and says, he's a lion dog-faced pony soldier.
Is that what, I've never heard John Wayne say that. Maybe he has. Maybe you watching this that watched John Wayne when you were younger, maybe John Wayne said it and maybe he's just doing plagiarism again and he's just taking it from John Wayne and saying the line. Maybe that's the case, right? More than likely, that's probably is the case because Joe Biden has used that phrase quite a lot, right? Like he owned it, like he coined it, right? But he's in there, he's over there talking to people in India about John Wayne and Indians. What does that got to do with anything?
Well, he doesn't have his notes, so.
But what does that have to do with anything?
Nothing. That's when you ask why did Joe Biden do that? They say that's how he connects with people. He just tells dumb.
But there's no connection there.
There are dumb stories.
But there's no connection.
There's no explaining, Joe.
That's what I don't understand. There's no connection. Where's the connection? Can someone tell me? I mean, so, one person was King Watts. I just happened to see on Rumble says insulting. I mean, it really is.
Joe don't know. Maybe that should be his motto. Joe don't know.
Really, he apparently he doesn't know.
I don't know. He looks really tired on this trip.
Well, actually, there's one video I didn't get it, but he says he's getting ready to leave and go to sleep.
Yeah.
He says he's getting ready to go to sleep.
Yeah, you could tell he's tired.
Maybe this is the one here. Listen to this. This is Joe Biden. This one, it says he was in Vietnam or he's over in Asia, So listen to this at a press conference. He's completely confused. I mean, he probably barely knows where he's at. They probably just gave him something. Just go out there for a couple of minutes and talk about,
I got hairy legs.
Something.
And let's see. Let me just follow my orders here. Staff, if anybody hasn't spoken, I ain't calling on you. I'm calling on. I said there are 5 questions. I need it.
I mean, really? So he has that call. He calls on his staff members or anyone that called, and then as soon as he said that, other people in there saying, "Oh, well, I got a question." He said, "I'm not calling on any of you. You're not on my card here. You didn't coach me. You didn't tell me. My staff member didn't say anything about you." It's a total embarrassment, everybody. It is a complete, total embarrassment. And this dude's supposed to be representing who? I mean, it's sad to say that here he is. He's over here in a different country, and he's supposed to be representing the United States of America. It's a total embarrassment.
I mean, same thing with Kamala.
Yeah, same thing with Kamala.
The representatives of America are so embarrassing. I mean, our executive leadership is disgusting, Will.
Yeah, one person was that Stallworth says that nursing home. Said that on Facebook. Nursing home. Dude needs to go in a nursing home for real. This is elderly abuse. Dude can't even. And I can't play the end of this when he walks away because then they started asking about Hunter Biden getting indictment. And you know what they do? I guess this is going to be, we need to see if this is going to be reoccurring. As soon as Joe Biden is done, because he's not taking questions from anybody else other than who's on his card. What they've been doing is turning up the music really loud. So when the press is asking questions about Hunter Biden and everybody else, no one can hear it. So he can't hear it, most definitely. And they do it so he doesn't stop. And he's not going to stop and answer any questions about Hunter Biden being indicted. Well, listen to this one. What is the biggest threat right now to humanity, Shannon? Would you say it's a nuclear war or the weather changing? What is the bigger threat? Nuclear war.
Nuclear war, 100%.
Why not the weather? Why not the weather?
I don't see any evidence that.
Do you need to see evidence? It's not about seeing evidence. It's about getting you to believe something. Listen to your Joe here, your boy.
And guess what? In addition to helping the environment overall, the only existential threat humanity faces, even more frightening than a nuclear war, is global warming going above 1.5 degrees in the next 10 years. And we're in real trouble. There's no way back from that.
Bigger threat, nuclear bomb, nuclear fallout is not a bigger threat than the weather changing.
So, Will,
how do you buy this? How does anyone buy that?
The last day to say that you're running for president is October 16th. Do you think that there's a chance that Biden may drop out by October 16th? Because that's when people in the states have to file. So let's say Newsom wants to run. he has to do it by October 16th. So that means Biden will have to drop out of the race, essentially, for any other new people to run.
You know, with all this dirt and the way the media has been, you know, at the Biden crime family, rumor has it, Shannon, and you and I have had the discussion, and you were like really like adamant saying it won't happen, it won't happen. But there's been rumor, and it's like there's starting to come to surface a lot that Michelle Obama is thinking about throwing her name in there. Have you seen that?
No.
You're going to look it up? I mean, it's starting to fly around, but maybe again, it's just rumor. Maybe it's just rumor. But a lot of people have been saying Michelle Obama, she's going to do it. She's going to do it. She's going to do it. Michelle Obama. But I don't know. But how, I mean, just think about it. All this time, you've had Nancy Pelosi, you had, you know, Chuck Schumer, Jerry Nadler, the Communist News Network, for the most part, MSDNC. All of them say that Joe Biden is great. He's doing a phenomenal job. Mayorkas, Garland, all of them say Joe Biden is, you know, doing a great job. He's make no mistakes, none at all. So now they're starting to say, it's starting to pick up. Maybe it's just picking up as well, just to put pressure onto her to get her to do it.
For me, I don't think she did not, after a while, she didn't want to be a part of the White House anymore. She wanted to move on. She says she doesn't want to run as soon as, the latest was March 23. What's her motivation to run?
Money, power.
I mean, she already has money and
Ron
power.
DeSantis said if President Trump says he's throwing his name back in there, he's not going to run. And look at Ron DeSantis.
Well,
so you have multiple people saying that they wouldn't run. Gruesome Newsom said that Joe's running, so I'm not going to do it. But maybe, just maybe, it still could be Gruesome Newsom too. It could be. So if Joe Biden doesn't go along, like you said, if he says he drops out, let's just say he drops out, what's to stop Gruesome Newsom from doing it?
Well,
they want him. They actually want him.
100%. I think he would consider it. But I think that Michelle Obama, out of all those people you just named, she has a lavish life. She just had pictures of her on a yacht on vacation. That woman does not want to take a break from that life.
You know, but
to run a country.
I hear you. But we're talking about the Obamas that are so corrupt. I mean, Barack Obama, said that he would love to, you know, sit in the basement and just be in someone's ear, and they run to do it. Maybe they're tired of Joe and they put her in place. Well, because as of right now, it really looks like Obama is pulling the strings for Joe Biden.
I think he would pull the strings for Newsom too. And I think they would be more happy with that lifestyle than being in the White House, because they still get to live their lavish lifestyle and run their corrupt agenda. But that's just me. That's just my opinion.
It is, because we all have our opinions on it, right?
Yeah.
It is. But especially with all this information that came out about the Obamas here recently. You know what? Just really quick, and then I'm gonna move on here. Really quick. When that information with Tucker had that guy came on there talking about Obama's relationship, I'll put a thing out on Twitter I just asked a simple question, or X rather. I'll put a simple question. If Obama is living that lifestyle, why in the world would the left be upset about that? Y'all understand that question? Do y'all understand that? Let me repeat it one more time. If it comes out that Obama had lived that lifestyle, or even living that lifestyle, why would the left be upset with him living that lifestyle? Right? Because they champion that lifestyle. They embrace it. They say it's natural. They say it's normal. And if Obama is living it, why would they be upset anyone is acknowledging that Obama's living that way? They got upset. They got upset with Tucker. If anything, they'd be like, oh, he's so brave. He's so brave. But they didn't do that. They got upset because they said Tucker's putting out false information, fake news. Why would that be fake news? Shouldn't they be like, this is so wonderful? This is wonderful. Why wouldn't they do that? Y'all understand that, right? I'm like, why? I know the reason why. Because there's a lot of people that's been completely deceived and they don't want those people to wake up to the truth. That's the reason why they got upset. They want to keep people dumbed down. Okay, I got one more story here for you. Look at this one. Anthony Blinken goes on the Communist News Network and he was asked about the 13 personnel soldiers that died. Didn't have to. Jake the Snake is actually asking him this question. It's like he's trying to drill him. Like, you know, I know it's all for show. I don't believe it because he lets him slide by with the non-answer that he gives. Listen to this.
I recently spoke to Gold Star family members of those lost service members, and they told me that they think the Biden administration, specifically the Pentagon, is not giving them the answers and the accountability that they need for what happened to their loved ones that day. Does the Pentagon need to be more forthcoming about what happened that day to those 13 service members?
Now, let me stop it real quick. The question is, should they be more forthcoming? Should they be responsible? Should they take more action about what happened to those 13 military personnel? That's the question. Should they take responsible? Should they be responsible? Take responsibility for their deaths? Yes or no? And see, if I was in that position, I would just say, you know what? We take responsibility for any soldier, right? Because things happen. When there's certain situations, there's a war going on, stuff always happens out of control. And they said, well, you can't go out there and tell people that we're going to take responsibility for something that we actually did, because that's not good policy. We have to deny everything that we've been doing. At least to the public eye, we can't tell people that we actually did this and cause these 13 personnel soldiers to die. We can't do that. That wouldn't be good for PR purposes even. Take responsibility. I think the American people would respect you even more. But see, there's no respect for this dude. Listen to him.
Jake, I can't even begin to put myself in the shoes of those who lost their loved ones and who were acting so heroically and bravely. I can't begin to imagine what they're feeling. I can just say that if I were in their shoes, I'd probably feel exactly the same way. And we're determined as an administration to make sure that for the entire duration of the war, including Abbey Gate, that we draw the lessons that we need to draw from it and act accordingly. And we will, and we are. At the same time, the President made a very difficult but very important decision to end America's longest war, 20 years. And we want to make sure, and as a result of what the President did, we can make sure that we're not going to have another generation going to Afghanistan to fight and die there, as we had for 20 years.
Listen to this last part. Listen to this. See, he completely never said we're going to take responsibility, because they're actually calling him out because of their actions. These 13 military personnel lost their lives because of their actions. No responsibility. Nothing. For 20 years. So we did the right thing. So basically we did the right thing, and we lost 13 U.S. military personnel. Didn't have to happen. No, it's just military soldiers. That's what happens in war. That's what happens in war, Will. Stop harping about it, Will. That's just military, just Americans.
Well,
who cares? Who cares? That's how they act. Who cares?
Sad thing is they had intel that could have prevented. If they would have moved forth with investigating it and stopping it, it would have never happened. So It was missteps on their part, 100%.
That's why they don't want to take responsibility, because then it looks like they're not doing their jobs. They're not. Absolutely not. Okay, everybody, that is it for me. Thank you so much. Please go to my website. You can see it right there. It's uniteamericafirst.com, but here's the short link, uaf.media, uaf.media. Go there. You can see all the platforms that I'm on. Please like, follow, subscribe. All right, everybody. That's it for me. My name is Will Johnson, and that's a wrap. Peace out.